Welcome to the first episode of Money on the Mac. I'm Clary with my beloved father here, Scott Clary. We're here in the command center, right here in beloved Hermitage, PA. This light is really bright. Yeah. So this is our opening episode. We're gonna give you some of the overs and unders that we like. I should say that Skippy likes. Talk about some of the teams going into this upcoming season. To get you guys prepared for this upcoming season. But first, we have to check on how you're doing, how you've been doing since after the football season ended and the basketball season ended. How have your bets been going for you?
It's been a grind, Major League Baseball have been having one of my best seasons ever. In picking the games, found some unique ways to play some plays, working out for me. The other sports, not so much. Soccer season starting back up, doing okay in the World Cup, Women's World Cup. Really bad at tennis, not as good as last year. Thought I was doing well in, the basketball and hockey seasons till near the end. Got back some of my losses in the playoffs, which I normally do well in the playoffs in basketball, baseball, and hockey. But football season's here. This is the sport that we are looking forward to, and I like the daily grind of all the sports, but there's something special about football, especially college football.
College football is unique because there are your power schools and the bottom feeders of those Power Five, soon to be Power Four. And then you have your Group Five, which I think we in particularly like. There's almost a chaos to it, as you listening and those watching know. It's kind of fun. You never know what outcome you're going to get. You might have a team like UTSA that's really good. The next season they fall off, and a team like the Louisiana Raging Cajuns pop out of nowhere. Or sometimes conferences fall and they rise, and it's really exciting. So
good teams in the lower conferences, they have their moments. They come in, they fade out. Look at where Cincinnati. I expect Cincinnati down to Big 12 to be absolutely horrible this year. Losing their coach to Wisconsin, I think, is going to be a big loss for them. They didn't do a good job replacing him at all, in my opinion. But you even look like TCU and Boise State. There were those teams in lower conferences that came up and established themselves. And now TCU, went on to the Big 12 for big things. Boise State, maybe not as good as they were a few years ago, but it's exciting. The MAC is exciting. It's you get some wonderful games during the year. Last year, I thought it was a little bit different. I thought a lot of that action, that exciting high-scoring game, sort of, I thought through injuries and whatnot near the end of the year tailed off, and we went to the MAC championship in at the Ford Field there in Detroit. It was fun game. Toledo beat Ohio, but boring. It just wasn't that up and down game that we thought maybe we would see. Some injuries on Ohio's side had a lot to do with it. Toledo was a solid program, and they're going to look to repeat this year, and I think they have a chance to do that. But I will say, Ohio, Toledo, a lot of people I've been listening to and reading think that's going to be the matchup for the MAC championship this year. I do not. We'll get that later, but I do not believe that's going to be the championship.
So funny that you brought that up. We go in, Toledo's the favorite going into the season. Ohio's the second favorite. Last year was very similar in the sense where Kent State was very highly ranked, but NIU was the team to beat. And certainly everyone beat them last year. Yeah. They only obtained, I think, 2 or 3 wins. They struggled to get anything going. Now, before we get into some of the teams this year, do you feel that there will be a team that will have an NIU last year kind of season? Or they'll kind of have a fall from grace? No, other than Kent State, because I think we're all predicting that.
Yeah, Kent State's the worst team in college football. Worst team in college football. I mean, you can put them in any conference, and they may not win again. I believe that. And so you probably can predict where I have them finishing in the standings. I don't know. I mean, Ohio, I don't think is going to be I don't think they're going to win the East. However, I still think they're going to be a pretty good team. They're going to be right there. So Bowling Green was a team that last year went over the win total. I think they're going to regress back down. Buffalo had a really good season last year. I don't know. Compared, probably about the same this year. I think they'll be in contention to win the East. Don't know if they'll do it though.
So the way that we're going to do this order, I know you probably have a slightly different order. You have them in East and West there.
Yeah.
The order we're going to go from my very bottom ranked team in the MAC all the way up to my top. So number 12, by no surprise, it is a team that I'm rooting for. It's a team who my friend Ryan Struhart is hoping has some type of success.
Co-host of your
Co-host of Talking Action. But Kenny Burns is leading Kent State this year. They have 0 returners on offense and only 4 on defense. This is going to be a team where that under's going to be real low, but that I'll tell you what, it looks enticing. So Kent State, what do you have for us here? As certainly this is a team that not too people are high on this year.
111. I don't see where a second win is on the schedule.
Who's that first win? And only win?
The Central Connecticut State. Central Florida. Again, when you look when I handicap early in the season, I look to see who's returning what, and if there's a new coach, and if that new coach is on the road. All these boxes are checked for Kent State to get absolutely walloped on the road against Central Florida. Then they go to Arkansas. They come home, and the estimated line at home is they're going to be favored. The only game they'll be favored all year by 22 against Central Connecticut State. And if you need a line on that, take Central Connecticut State plus 3 touchdowns. There's no way. I can't imagine Kent State may not even score 22 points in a game all year. Then they have to go back out to Fresno State. So thanks to whoever did their scheduling.
You can take their last coach. You believe that they can start a season 1-3 and still make a bowl.
No, he's in Colorado. So, but again, Miami at Ohio at Eastern Michigan, they're all double-digit dogs. Buffalo at home, they're 7.5. These are estimated lines I have here. They're going to be 7.5 point dogs at Akron. That may be win 2, right? That could be the second win. Bowling Green could be a third win at home. At Ball State, Northern Illinois at home. I don't see them winning any game except perhaps Central Connecticut State, Akron, and Bowling Green. So you have to believe that they're going to beat both of those teams. I don't see that happen. I think Akron is to be looking to move up, take a step up. This is going to be a very hard. They were hard to beat last year, even though they didn't win a lot of games. You had to play the whole game to beat them. And
Kent State had to last year. For those that watched the game, Akron had that game. They believe they won that first half, but the second half is where Kent State's flash fast offense last year, proved to take the lead.
The wagon wheel going back to Akron. Anyways, Kent State, it's 2.5. So you have to find 3 wins. So Central Connecticut State probably won. At Akron, maybe on the road. Bowling Green, maybe. So they have to win 2 maybes to go over. And you're going to tell me I can get under 2.5 at -130. That's one of my best bets.
So we'll go into my number 11 team, a team that transfer portal ate them up a little bit. They were a team that underachieved big time after a tough performance against Pitt early in the season. What do you have here for Western Michigan, Dad? As you're looking for it, yeah. Western Michigan is a team fired their coach towards the end of the year. Lost a good amount of players, but I think in a few years this program's gonna be back on top where they were in the Lou Fickle, or not Lou Fickle, the coach of Minnesota. So we're looking back to get to those days.
I got Western Michigan tied with Ball State for the worst team in the West at 2-6. 2 of 4 teams don't finish 2-6 this year, in my opinion. 2-6 in the league. I have them 3-9 overall, under 3.5. I'm not going to take it under 3.5 because the number's right at 3. But here opening day, it started the year at -4. I mean, sorry, the over-under was 4.5. If you can find a 4.5, for them to find 5 wins, I don't see 5 wins on the schedule. They open up with St. Francis of PA. Good chance they win that game. But then at Syracuse, at Iowa, at Toledo, that's 3 L's in a row. Ball State at home is winnable. The only other winnable games are Central Michigan at home and maybe Bowling Green at home. That's 4. So the over-under is 3.5. I have them at 3. They could get to 4. That's a no play for me.
So their head coach, just similar to Kent State, first-year head coach, hasn't had any head coaching experience prior. His playing experience as a wide receiver at Alabama. Of course, we're talking about Lance Taylor here. It's his first year. Last year they were 5-7. They returned 8 offensive players. So unlike what Kent State's dealing with, Michigan might have a really good offense and a bad defense, considering they're only returning 2 players. Do you feel like since they're returning almost their entire offense from last season, that they could have a chance to be one of the teams that can push the over button on?
No, and I'll say, no, not over win total. They have 7.
Over on points in games.
Yes, because 7 on offense and 2 in defense, which means they don't have very good defense. At least I didn't think they were good that last year, so I can't imagine it would be good this year with only 2 returning. So, and again, with the portal, I don't know how much I know or don't know about the MAC portal. Who's coming in and out. We learned that through the season. Last year I had it right with Bowling Green. Thought they really won the portal, and they did. I thought Buffalo lost the portal, but they did really good in the portal and ended up being a lot better. I imagine. But anyways, this is a team I think could totals can go over the over posted total. I think that's possible, but I see a lot of losses. I have them at 3-9 this season, 2-6 in the West.
All right, let's go to my number 10 ranked team here. I wanted to put them up higher, but there's just not enough for me to put them over Ball State, Bowling Green. So of course, we're talking about one of my favorite teams to cover, Akron Zips, coached by Joe Moorhead. It's his 2nd year here in Akron. It's his 4th overall. He was at Mississippi State before. He's an offensive guru, Joe Moorhead. He has 8 returning offensive players, 7 defensive starters returning as well. 2-10 last season. This is a team where I've been saying even before that the over-under for wins came out, team where you want to pound the over here. I don't know if you agree with me, but go ahead.
We're the ones that come, right? At Temple on the road, they're 12.5 estimated right now, 12.5 points. I didn't look at the official one, but I have it at 12.5. If that's the line, I get. Could they go and upset Temple? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a possible win, maybe. Morgan State, they're going to be favored by 26 at home, allegedly. At Kentucky and Indiana are losses. But then they have 2 more possible wins at home, Buffalo and Northern Illinois. I don't know if they're going to win either one of those games, but they're under a touchdown dog at home, so it's possible. At Central Michigan is a loss. Bowling Green, at Bowling Green, that line's about 6.5, 7. I don't know. I don't see that. I don't see them going on the road and winning a game like that. Not this year. Kent State, again, will be the second game, the only game they're going to be favored on. And so I like them there. At Miami, Ohio, Eastern Michigan, and Ohio U. Ohio U is the one to get home. They're not winning those games. So when I look at it, I have Kent State as a win. Morgan State as a win. Those are 2 wins. Possible Buffalo, Northern Illinois, and Bowling Green. So anywhere between 2 and 5. I have them at 3-9. The over and under at 4. For me, that's a no play. If you want to take a little bit of gander on the over, why not? If you want to try it. But me, that's not anything I'm going to put my money on. Again, I have them between 3 and 5. The line's 4. Chance it hits 4.
With this Akron team, and for those that followed them last year, they had one of the leading tacklers in the country, Bubba Arsalanian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. There's a lot of A's there in the middle of that name. He's not returning. He was granted a 6th year in the middle of the spring, he left to start a pro career. Not sure where he's at right now. Haven't heard much. His Twitter's been pretty silent. Even with that loss, this is a team, DJ Irons, right? And you might be concerned about his health. He did not play in the spring at all. He was just rehabbing. That can be a concern. But with Jeff Undercuffer, I think that they have someone that can fill in. He did win a game for him last year, second win. He helped them achieve against NIU. You have a former five-star running back of Miami and Florida, Lorenzo Lingard. Then Alex Adams and Daniel George, junior and senior combo. Two Bolitnikoff preseason projected players. This is a team that's got a lot of firepower, a revamped offensive line. This team has a chance to be the dark horse, and that's what I have them as. I think Akron, at the end of the year, be a team that has 5 wins and they're pushing 6 for the last 2, possibly. Or the last game. I feel like they could push that. You didn't have them, you scroll back up to their schedule. You didn't have them, you can't beat Buffalo. I don't think they will. Right? Not going to be right. NIU, you beat NIU. They did it last year. They could beat Central Michigan. They could beat Bowling Green. They will beat Kent State, is what I'm projecting. They can't beat a disappointing Miami team from last year. We don't know how Gabbert's going to be this year. Right? Eastern Michigan, everyone has them projected to be really good this year. A flash in the pan season, won 8 wins. I don't know what's going to happen. They could beat them. How are you? I think they'll lose to that game. Who knows? With Rourke's injury history, or his inconsistently issues from 2 years ago.
So you like Akron, we get it, right? I think this is a better team to bet every week, plus the points, you are to take the over 3.5. Do they get 4 or 5? Yeah, and again, if you want to take a risk, put some money on it, or find a team to parlay with it, that's fine. I mean, I don't have an issue with it. To me, there's better plays on the board over 3.5 on a team here. The best case scenario gets 5. More realistically, they're at that 3 and 4 mark. So again, I have them right there at the number. The number's 4. Okay, so if you think at best they're going to get 5, I'm not sure I'm putting my money over 3.5. Or actually it's at 4. So you're saying that 1 better, it's not really worth it. I mean, but yeah, I do think this is a team, and I did last year, plus the points. Again, first week Temple, you can get double digits. I'm taking Akron over Temple plus 12.5. Kentucky, I don't know what I'll do there, but at Indiana, Indiana's down this year. You're going to be Akron 18 points. I'm going to take that all day long. So I think that's what the value is. Betting Akron as the dog, not on the total for the future.
Okay.
Especially when you're tying your money up for 6 months. You put your money down here in August, no return until December. So, was that 4 months, whatever, that's, you're tying your money up there. And to me, that's not, the risk reward isn't high enough for me to tie my money up.
Okay, let's get this moving here with Ball State. Ball State, coached by Mike New. It's 8th year at Ball State, 8th year overall in the FBS. 5-7 last year. 7 returning offensive players, 7 returning defensive players. They did lose their star running back from last season. Don't let that fool you. You may have got who was the second best running back, Marquez Cooper, who was at Kent State, part of that flash fast offense. There's a Ball State team here, Dad, that could be pretty good. They're going to be offensive heavy again. They're relying on Lane Hatcher Jr., who's a junior, transferred in, I believe. So it's an interesting year for Ball State. It was a team that was 1 defensive stop away from winning the MAC West title. Don't let that 5-7 record fool you. What do you have on this team here?
Well, again, the advice I have on the information I have says take over the 4.5. I'm going under 4.5. I'm not going to I don't recommend this play. I have them at 4 wins this year, 2-6 in the West, 4-8 overall, maybe 3-9. I'm not really convinced on this team. I'm not sold on them at all. I think they're going to take a regress back. I know they have 6 returning starters on offense, 7 on defense, so they're right in the middle. So to me, they're not in their schedule too. I looked at their schedule. I'm not a big fan of their schedule. Some of their winnable games are on the road. They're only going to be favored 3 times or 4 times all season. Indiana State, it's 1 win. At Western Michigan on the road, I'm not buying they're going to win that game on the road. At Bowling Green, again, they're like half point, maybe a favorite there, not sold there. Kent State, yeah, okay. So I see 2 wins in the bag, or Indiana State and Kent State to me, the only 2 wins in the bag. There's 2 or 3 others. Maybe they get the 5. Total's 4.5. It's a no play for me.
All right, I have nothing to argue with you there, Ball State. Let's go to last year, who was probably the weirdest team in the MAC, Bowling Green. This was a team last year that there'd be times where, and they're my 8th ranked team. They were a team last year where you watch them play and you're like, wow, they just beat Toledo. They can win the MAC East. This team's really good. And then they get blown out by Kent State on a Thursday night. So you never know what you're going to get from this team. So the details here with the coaching staff: Scott Loeffler, Scott with 1 T. He was 6-7 last year. This is 5th year at BG, 5th year overall. 8 offensive returners, 5 defenders returning. Dad, what do you got about Bowling Green?
This team, again, I had the over last year. This is one of my best bets of the year last year when I gave it out. You all right, bud?
Wow, sneeze.
Yeah, no. All right. Thank you. Right on live TV. So anyways, TV. I know whatever we call it now, webcasting. Anyways, they finished the season going 1-3, losing 46 to Kent State, then upsetting Toledo, right? 42-35, then losses to OU and New Mexico State. That would be in the bowl game, correct? That was in Detroit too, I believe. Anyways, I'm not on this team too much this year. I have 2-6 in the East, 3-9 overall. They have a very difficult schedule. Eastern Illinois, their 2nd game of the year. I think that's the win for them. At Liberty, opening up's a loss. Michigan's a loss. At Georgia Tech's a loss. So there you go. There, I do have them under 5 wins. I don't see 5 wins for them, and I don't see 6. Right? There's not 6 wins on the team on the schedule for Bowling Green this year. And so, at worst case, they get to 5, which I don't see happening. To me, this is one of my bets. Bowling Green under 5. The only problem with it, it's juicy at -165. I'm going to lay it, or I'm going to parlay it with another over I have later. We'll talk about when we get closer to the top.
All right, let's go to my 7th ranked team here. Central Michigan. Central Michigan was a team that was really disappointing for me last year. They were at first my favorite going into the season, and then I changed it to Toledo. This was a team where I thought that they would be go guns blazing, throwing the ball, and that wasn't the case. They were 4-8 last year. So Jim McLean, I hope I pronounced that right.
No, McLuhan.
McLuhan. So how you pronounce that, you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not what you said.
I said McLean.
It's not even close.
Yeah, no. 5th year, it's his 11th year overall. His prior head coach experience. He was at Colorado from 2012 to 14. He was at Florida from 15 to 17. They were, like I said, 4-8 last year. 4 returning offensive players and 9 defensive. This is the team that's going to be really defense heavy. Jace Bauer and Burt Emanuel are going to be battling it out for QB this year. 2 guys that can run. It would be interesting there. I mean, really, there's a lot of new faces on this offense here. Dad, what do you have on this team here? There's not much really I can say on them so far, as we're kind of getting used to this new look Central Michigan team after a team kind of fell apart last year after a disappointing season.
Well, Paul Petrino, he's the offensive coordinator. He's been around. I think he's got fired in Idaho, if I'm correct on that. But to try to get that offense going. Central Michigan, I don't like. It's not a team I'm on this year. I do have them finishing 3rd in the West at 5-3, 6-6 overall. I have a total at 5.5. So I have 6 wins for them. This isn't a play for me either way. Middle of the road team, going to win some games, going to lose some games. I know you're going to see them in Notre Dame on the 16th. So hopefully they could do a lot better. When you saw them last year at Penn State.
And they battled, they covered.
Yeah, I still lost. Yeah, they were getting 28. They lost 33-14. Yeah, again, they also, they covered at Oklahoma State. Didn't cover against Southern Alabama at home. And they covered at 40.5 against Bucknell, winning 41-0. Anyways, Central Michigan, not a team I'm probably won't bet on or against all year. They're just not a team. Unless something changes during the year. But at 5-3, if you think they could be a little bit better than that, 750 is the mark for them to win the West. It's not worth a flyer for me.
Yeah, so now we'll move on to my number 6 team here. This is a team that everyone still loves. NIU. Most people have NIU as one of their top 4 teams. Some people have them even winning the West. I don't like this team very much. They bring back Rocky Lombardi. People think he's going to go back to his 2020 form or 2021 form. I don't know. He was injured last year. We'll see what happens. But they do have a coach on the chopping block here, Thomas Hammock. Did I read an M? Where did I add an extra M in there? Hammock. Yeah. So Hammock, they were 3-9 last season. It's his 5th year here, 5th year overall.
Yeah, they thought maybe during that year he was going to go home and be laying on a hammock because they didn't think he was going to make it through the year.
They had projected them to be fired.
Yeah, he had a bad year, and if I remember correctly, let me look. They picked it up at the end of the season. I did lose their last 2 games, but they actually they were bad all year long. I thought they had some.
Nope, their season started off bad and continued to be even worse.
Yeah,
they were 3-9 last year. The only MAC team to lose to Akron last season. They returned 8 players on offense and 7 on defense. So if there's a spark in this team that was missing last year that they had in 2021, they're looking to find it here as they return a good amount of players. That what do you have on this team?
I like them. I think they're going to bounce back. I have them 6-2. I have them actually losing at Toledo. I think they're going to upset Ohio at home. So I think this is a team that is going to bounce back. Being a little crazy on it, but I like them at 6-2, 8-4 overall. So I actually have them winning 2 non-MAC games, which is unusual. Boston College could be close. Southern Illinois should be a win. Nebraska lost, and I think they could beat Tulsa. So I think they'll get 2 of them. Anyways, with Northern Illinois, they're over under 6.5 at plus 135. So you're going to get some juice on this one here coming your way. I like it. I like Northern Illinois. I'm going to take them plus the 135 over 6.5. If you think they could beat Toledo, which I don't think they would, they are plus 600 to win the West. I don't recommend that, but some people like to put for money wise plus 600. It's worth a flyer if you want to go that route. Okay. I don't recommend it. Not doing it.
Yeah, you might like NIU. Not really a big fan of them. Wasn't last year either, and I was right. So we'll go with Miami now. Chuck Martin's the coach. It's his 10th year Miami, 10th year overall. And also they have a matchup I'm excited to talk about. But 6-7 last season, 7 returning offensive players, 9 returning defenders. But one of their people, Dad, do you know who their starting quarterback is and who his brother is?
Yeah, it's the brother of Blaine Gabbert, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brett Gabbert. Yeah. By the way, not very tall. No, I'm taller than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
can't throw a football.
He can't throw a football. He can very good at it as well. Brett Gabbert. He's coming back after a rocky season last year. He was injured a good amount of the season. He actually was going to transfer, ended up coming back to Miami. So you know what that means? You couldn't find anywhere else better to go. So you see what that means. Yeah. So what do you have on the Red Hawks here? As you can see all the Steelers stuff behind us. Big Ben guys when it comes to football wise.
Right, as you moved to Cleveland. I still here in the Western PA, a little north of Pittsburgh, in between Pittsburgh and Cleveland, but still Steeler territory here. Anyways, Miami, Ohio is going to win the East. I have them at 7-1, 8-4 overall. One of my best bets of all of college football, over 6.5. I don't like the juice at minus 165. Could possibly put them in a parlay with Miami. I'm sorry, with Bowling Green under 5. They're 165 too. So, but I like Miami. Probably going to stake them over 6.5. I think they're going to get the 8 wins. When you look at the schedule, of course, Miami of Florida will be a loss, but they should win it.
I'm sorry, who are they playing?
Yeah, all right. Miami. I mean, we love that, right?
So the winner of the game is just Miami.
Right.
So Miami, Ohio would no longer be Miami, Ohio. It would just be Miami. Miami, Florida would have to be Miami, fell.
Yeah.
We agree on that?
Right. Okay. We have Miami, Florida. At UMass should win that. At Cincinnati, they could win that. Delaware State to win. Kent State to win. Bowling Green, they're double digit there. They should win. Western Michigan, I think they'll win. Toledo at home, they're going to be dogs. In fact, the only games they're dogs in the MAC are Toledo home and at Ohio U. I think they split those games, and I think that's going to put Miami to win the East.
You think Miami wins the East?
That's my pick. Right, and they're plus 360, by the way. Plus 360 to win the East.
So okay, so I'm gonna give you this team. I gotta fix the camera again because now it's way too low.
It's fine. The camera's fine.
Yeah. All right. So this could be a team that they were record-wise the second best team in the league or in the MAC. 9-4 Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, or what you like to call them,
Herons.
the Herons. Yeah.
Not being politically correct anymore.
Chris Creighton, he is their head coach, 10th year at EMU, and then 10th year overall. They have 4 returning offensive players and 7 returning defenders. But the main person coming in is Samson Evans. I think most would say probably one of the best running backs in Eastern Michigan history, as he is just a junior and he has completely revolutionized that running back position there. He was phenomenal in his sophomore season. And by the way, before we go into what you have here, would it be a lot cooler if they just changed their name to the Emus, the EMU Emus?
Let's move on.
All right, go ahead. Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. I'm not high them as you are. I have them 4-4, 7-5 overall. The over/under 7, so I have them right at 7. Chris Creighton, like him as a coach. He also is the offensive coordinator, which I always like, by the way. With that said, I just don't see this team with 4 offensive starters being much anything. I don't think they can compete with Toledo or Northern Illinois. I have them better than Western Michigan and Ball State, and they're right in that Central Michigan range.
Okay, EMU, that's my second highest rated West team. So, yeah, number 3.
Well, someone needs to be behind Toledo, right? I have a Northern Illinois and Central Michigan. You have Eastern Michigan, and they were pretty good last year. So I don't hate it. I just don't. I don't have, and I don't have them. Doing much other than just a decent 500 team.
Yeah. So let's go to Ohio. They're my number 3 team here. Ohio was a team that I thought on paper looked good going into last season. A lot of people told me I was wrong. And so when I went to Penn State, I could tell people I like Curtis Rohr. I think he can be good after a bad season. And I was told by multiple writers and people that work for the newspaper and TV station that this team is not very good. And guess who was right?
You were right.
Me. I was right.
Boy, they were boring in that bowl game.
Well, they also were missing a key player.
Right.
They were 10-4 last season. Tim Albin. It's his 3rd year here, third year overall. Yeah. 9 returning offensive players, 6 returning defenders. Curtis Rourke, he is back. They returned the running back as well, and Bangura.
Yeah, 2 impressive wins last year. I thought beating Florida Atlantic 41-30 at home and home opener was
when people started taking them seriously, and that was really early on.
And then they got blown out against Penn State and Iowa State. But the end of the season, I thought, was a really impressive win against Wyoming, 30-27. It was a push. They were -3. But anyways, I thought that was an impressive win by them. And again, I think this is a team that could be really good this year. They have 9, and the QB start coming back on offense, 6 on defense. I just have them at 6-2, 7-5 overall. Again, I have them tied with Buffalo and one game below than Miami. So they're right there. So for me to say I don't like the team, I do. They're plus 120 to win the East. I don't like that number. It's a little low for me to play a future to tie that money up like that. But I'm still going to stick with Miami. But I think when it comes to Ohio, they're a team that can run the gamut. They could go undefeated. They could win it. I think if they have a rematch against Toledo beats them again. But I do. I like this team. I'm not going to take the over under 7.5 because I see them right there at 7, 8 at the most.
They do return one of our favorite players in college football. Their center. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
Parker, number 69. Parker Titsworth.
We saw him playing in a pit. We went to go see
In 2000, I think it was 2019 or 18. Guess what? He's a junior.
I have pictures. I took pictures of.
You did take
pictures.
I
believe he's from like North Allegheny High School.
He's from the Pittsburgh area.
But yeah, really good, talented player from Western PA. Went over to Ohio. And so we like him. But this team, I think, is going to be good. I don't have them winning it. I wouldn't take the over 7.5, and I definitely wouldn't take under 7.5. I just wouldn't bet them.
All right. Well, let's go to my MAC East favorite. Buffalo Bulls.
Oh, you love Buffalo.
I love Buffalo. Maurice Linguist is our coach. 3rd year here, 3rd year
Did
over.
you tell them when you were at a pick game once you were chanting "Go Home Buffalo"?
I did not tell the coach of Buffalo.
Okay.
That little story. Granted, he was definitely not there at the time.
No,
that had to have been like what, 2010? That was the Big East days of
it was Big East.
Yeah, so that was a while ago. I was yelling at some band members. So they finished 7-6 last year. They have 5 returning. They're dead even on returners. 5 offensive returners, 5 returning defenders. Cole Snyder, Ron Cook. I could keep going on. Cole Harity at wide receiver. This team is good. They're aggressive. They have fantastic run schemes. They remind me of BW, the way they run the ball. They're not afraid to use Cole Snyder as a runner. And they're also not afraid to use multiple different runners. They had Ron Cook and Mike Washington combined for over 600 rushing yards last season. I think they'll do even better this year. OJ Henderson actually was someone that I predicted to have 1,000 rushing yards last year. He was the 3rd leading rusher. That's how good that room is. So this team, and they also add a young kid from Akron, Hoban. And I talked to Coach Linguist about that as well. We're really excited to see what he does there. Ed, what do you have on my winners of the MAC East?
There's no doubt that you have more, and I know we're just a little small thing here in the Eastern Ohio area, even though we're in Western PA today. But with that said, when it comes to knowing the MAC, there's no one that knows more than I think you do. I really do. You are on it, and you like this team a lot more than I like this team. But I do have them at 6-2, 7-5. I'm not going to take them either way. If you like them, they're plus 7. My writing plus 250 to win the East. So plus 250 to win the East. So they're a team that's worth the flyer if you like them. I could see someone doing that. I thought they were going to be bad last year. I took the under and I took the L on that one. They had that streak. They lost to Ohio U, Central Michigan, and Kent State. And I needed one more loss, and then they ended up beating Akron. And then, they didn't know. I'm sorry, they had to lose to Akron. They lost to Akron, then I would have ended up winning the bet. Then they went and beat Georgia Southern, which I thought was a really good win in the ball game, 23-21. They were getting 6 points. So again, I think that Coach Linguist he knows what he's doing there. I remember watching Buffalo back in 1987. They were a Division III team. They played Merciers. Yeah, some play basketball and football in their Division I now. Yeah,
I know Akron at one point was D2.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point they're all.
Yeah.
But to me, that's not long ago. I know for everyone else, the old guy, but to me, um, that's not that long ago. Anyways, plus 250 to win the East. Yeah, it's worth, some pizza money, as they say, to put on it. I'm not going to do it because I think I might sell out on Miami, Ohio. But again, Miami, Buffalo, and Ohio, to me, those are the three beasts of the East. Either one of these three teams are going to win. I think there's a big separation between the top three and the bottom three in the East.
I agree with that. Buffalo, I remember watching them last year, and I was getting flashbacks of watching film when I played at BW. And I was seeing the schemes happen. It was very similar to the way that they ran. They used a lot of power and zone concepts. I'm a big fan of what they do there. I'm also a fan of the attitude that Coach Linguist has. He's a hold me back coach.
Yeah.
He is a coach that stands behind him and holds his belt back. So I like his intensity. I like his mind thought and the way that he coaches those guys. But by no surprise, this next team is my favorite to win the MAC once again. Coach Jason Candle. He is the head coach here for the Toledo Rockets. Coach Jason Candle. It's his ninth year here, ninth year overall. His prior head coach experience, he actually took over for Toledo in a bowl game in 15 before taking the head coach job overall the year after. He won the MAC title in 2017 and last year, of course. They were 9-5 last year. They had returned 8 starters and 8 defenders. They did lose one of their better wide receivers in the portal, but they do maintain a good amount of their wide receivers as well. Finn's back. Finn's back. Stewart is back. Maddox is back. This team. Newton is back. Cole is a stepping up tight end. Their offensive line, they're revamped and ready to go. Dallas Gant is on his 12th year of college football. After playing about 5 years at Ohio State, he's playing about 5 more at Toledo. Dad, this team is locked and loaded, though they're kind of I can't believe how many returning defenders they still have.
Right.
They lost a good amount.
I'm just thinking about the offense right now. We know that we have the Dequan Finn coming back at 23 touchdown passes, the QB there, right? But you also have offensive line, first teamer Nick Rossi's coming back. The centers, Devon Rogers and Vinny Scurry is there. And then they have Kendall Majors, another returning guy on the line. But they have Rod Orr from Florida State and David Nogwanu. I'm sorry, man. I can't pronounce that name. But he's from Rutgers. So they got some guys coming in. And they have 8 on offense, 8 on defense. And I also like what they're doing. They're the one team in the MAC doesn't have a killer schedule non-conference. At Illinois, okay. But then Texas Southern, San Jose State. Again, they're a decent team. They should win that game. And then they have UMass, right? So this is a team I have 7-1 in the West. Even though I like Northern Illinois to be better this year, Toledo's the team. I 7-1. If they go 8-0, I'm not going to be surprised. I've done 10-2 overall, over 9 wins. I see that happening, -120. Again, do you want to just lay money for 4 or 5 months in a futures market? I'm probably not going to lay that because I only have the one better. Again, I like them to win the West. The price to win the West, again, it says 130, so probably not going to go there. So I have the MAC championship on Toledo and Miami of Ohio. Toledo to win the whole MAC is +170. To win for Miami's +800. But again, I wouldn't do that with Miami. Again, if you want to take a little flyer to win 800, $8 to 1. But again, Miami, Buffalo, Ohio to me are in a dog race to win the East. I think Toledo is going to, I think Northern Illinois will give them a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a scare, but Toledo is going to win the West to me. And I think they'll end up, again, winning the MAC.
Before we go, is there any other thing you want to add? Any other conference you want to you like a team in that, or anything else you like here?
I haven't done much in the future markets. When I have Caleb Williams to win the
Heisman.
Yeah, again, no one's done back to back. People vote. Again, sometimes you have to vote. You're basically betting on the voters. Do they ever want another person to win back to back? Since what was it, Archie Griffin? So I don't see that happening again. I mean, I think it is going to happen, but I can see them not voting it in. You know what I mean? I think he's good enough to do it. I can see the voters, but I took Caleb Williams. I think I got it at 550.
By the way, Archie Griffin is a really old name drop. I know, for you, I know it was at the 70s.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing people talk about Archie Griffin if anyone was going to do it again. And the podcast I was listening to is like, I don't think they've ever heard Archie Griffin's name brought up in a conversation in college football since they've been alive. So someone got to do it eventually.
And I like, the conference is going to be better this year. So I can see them, him getting some good wins. I do think USC is the best team. I do think they're going to win. Again, that you can look at that market. I haven't really looked at the prices for that yet. We could maybe do another preview show before the season start on non-MAC teams. But I like them. I do. The only bets I have is Clemson to win the
ACC.
To win the ACC. I do like them to win the ACC. I have another bet. Maybe I'm gonna win it all. Maybe I don't think I have. No, ACC maybe over wins. But I like them. Clemson, yeah. And other than that, Pittsburgh. I need to look at a little bit more, but no one's mentioned them. No one's talking about them. And I think they're going to go over their total wins. So I think it's 8. So I like them to be a little bit better in ACC than people have them predicted, or again, under the radar. Other than that, I'm not really prepared for anything. I think Ohio State will win the Big Ten. I think they'll beat Michigan in the championship game this year. I think Penn State. Clevelanders, they're like Bull and Wallace of Division III over there.
They're on the outside looking in.
Yeah,
every year.
They beat everybody. Bull and Wallace, just no matter how much they try and where they should be. Last year they had Mount Union beat. They had John Carroll beat 3 years in a row. Haven't beat them ever since who knows when.
2013.
And Penn State's the same way with Michigan and Ohio State. They just don't beat them. And so, and again, I can also see them slipping up. I know that they have Alar, right? That's his name.
Alar
From the Cleveland area, right? So, again, I think this is a team that you can look at over there for Penn State. So again, not ready to make any other bets other than I mentioned today with the MAC and Clemson and Caleb Williams. Other than that, we'll see. And I'm excited to really dig into it. I need to really dig into it, and I think tonight I'm gonna look at my NFL stuff.
Of course, we'll talk about it more. But you'll hear from me. We'll do our show. We'll do Talking Action. We have Across the Sports World with Dominic Clary, which we'll see more about that here soon with my hometown report, which will be coming out next week. You'll hear me on the broadcast for our YouTube show.
It's a lot more content this year, Dominic.
So 2 new shows, yeah.
Yeah, maybe more.
I mean,
you're gonna do 2 MAC shows. Then we're gonna do some shows where you are more on NFL and college. Then you're gonna do something with our hometown here in Mercer County, PA, talking to some people that are famous, local personalities. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be really good for your listeners. A lot of content coming from Dom this year. And you'll just basically see me here. I'm betting, any content with gambling because, I'm a degenerate.
You have a problem. But that's why we love you. That's why the show exists. With you not enjoying gambling, this show doesn't exist. Because you're the gambling side, I'm the MAC side. But thank you for listening or watching. We have a lot of stuff coming your way. As mentioned, we have an exciting football season. So stay tuned and keep on betting on the MAC.